Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to part 2 of Launch Your Own Podcast. If you haven't watched part 1, really go back to the first video and watch it, because that is all going to be important for today, where we will start playing around with the platform and inputting all of the details, all of the information that I asked you to brainstorm about yesterday. And I wanted to take you behind the scenes of my podcast called Female Solopreneurs Growing Their Business, just so you know what it looks like when we are inside this platform. And then I'm going to start creating my second podcast called Happy Home, which is all about space clearing. And so you're going to see what the platform looks like from scratch, and we're going to do it together. We're going to fill in all the details together. So let me share my screen. All right, I hope you can see my screen well. So here we are in Podcasters by Spotify inside of the platform. And this is the site where all my episodes are listed. I have 19 up now. So this is also what your listeners would see. And you can see then that they can listen to all the different episodes. And also you can click see more. You see all the podcast descriptions, and everything is hyperlinked, so you can put your website links, your social media links, all in the podcast description each time. So it's a really good way of getting people from the podcast to your socials, or to sign up for your newsletter, or to follow you, wherever you are. Then here you can see it's available on all these different platforms, and there are more, but those are the ones that I signed up for, so that listeners can pick either of those. And my socials are here, so you can link up your Facebook, your Instagram, your YouTube channel if you have, and your website, so people can find you also through the main page. All right, this is a cover art that I created with Canva, and it was a template. And that's it for Female Solopreneurs Growing Their Business. I will log out so I can create a new podcast. So you would go to podcasters.spotify.com, or you can Google it, Podcasters by Spotify. Then you should arrive here, and you just click on login, or, Spotify for Podcasters, and it will prompt you to log in or sign up. Now, as we are all creating a podcast from scratch, we're going to go for sign up. Now you have the option of, you already have a podcast. No, that's not what we want. Even though if you already have a podcast and you want to bring it into this platform, you can, but I will not explain anything about this during this course. So I want to start a podcast. There you go. Now you will fill in your name, your email, a password, your date of birth, and you sign up. And I will do it as well. I'm just going to pause the video for now. All right, so you should have been able to access this page right here now if you put in all the details, your email address, etc. And here you can see now, make your first episode. And it's an easy process of taking you through the setting up of your podcast. So go ahead, click Let's Do It. And now you get to this page, which will be always your main page when you create an episode, or you want to edit it, or with simple edits. And it says here, create your episode. You have a record button here where you can record right from your desktop. You also have the possibility of downloading the app. You can find it in the App Store. Sometimes I record from my phone because it's easy to use. I can sit on my couch and I can record an easy episode. Sometimes I do it from within this browser. Right now I'm using Zoom, and there's many different ways you can create an episode. You can even record it into your voice message on the phone and then upload it into here. So let's see. If you have a library, you can drag and drop what is here on the left to the right, but since we are very new here, we don't have a library. In terms of music, you can add Spotify music to your show if you have an account, but we will not focus on that right now. You can share a voice message link with your audience or friends and family, and then they can use that link to send a recording right here into this platform. And then you can also drag and drop it into your episode to share messages from listeners. You have transition sounds like this one that you can incorporate into your podcast. So there's a whole lot of them. You can listen to all of them. You can choose something that really represents your vibe. Of course, you can also be much more professional than that and hire somebody on Upwork or Fiverr or anywhere else, so they create your own individualized podcast transition or music. But I went ahead and I picked one or two that I really enjoy from this list here that I use on my other podcast. So in terms of recording, it also says here you can go to Riverside, but I never used it, so I'm not gonna bother. What we're gonna do today though, we are gonna go, let's see, to home. Set up your podcast, yes. So you go to home. We forget about making the first episode right now because that won't be today, or at least not in this video here. We go to podcast setup. That is the important part. And that is where the homework from yesterday really fits in. So you will put in the name that you came up with. On top of that, you will write about what your podcast is about. So you will write a description. Make sure you use all the terms that are SEO friendly, like what is it that people will Google when they're trying to find what it is that you're talking about. Of course, for my space clearing podcast called Happy Home, it will all be around space clearing, remote space clearing, energy clearing, happy home, spirit removal. So I will use all those keywords. And at the end, you can add even hashtags. So I will make one that is called space clearing at the very end. And so you can create your own podcast description. You have 600 characters to use. So it has to be rather short, but I'm sure you will manage to describe your podcast beautifully. Then you will choose a category out of a huge list that, really fits your podcast, and you will choose the language. So I will fill that in for myself right now. So I just did my own little setup here. So podcast name, I called it Happy Home, Space Clearing Podcast. Podcast description, I wrote Welcome to Happy Home, the podcast where we explore the world of space clearing. Your hosts are Eloisa and Lais Stefan, mother and daughter, who both trained in space clearing in Thailand. Join us as we share real-life case studies and success stories of removing negative energies, spirits, and poltergeists from people's homes, helping them create a harmonious and balanced living environment. Whether you're into energy work, spirituality, feng shui, or simply want to learn more about space clearing techniques, this podcast is for you. Then I have 3 hashtags. And then I wasn't sure about the podcast category. It's home and garden for now, but it could have been spirituality, it could have been healing. So I wasn't quite sure, but for now I'll go with home and garden. Then the podcast language is English. So I'll press continue. And I'm sure we can change that later on as well. So don't get too overwhelmed. Now, there is a monetization option, and I am not going to speak about it because I've never used it, but you can play around with it. It's especially beneficial if you already have a huge audience that is going to listen to you, and then you can monetize, and they will show you how to do that. Let's see. Now it goes back to let's do it for make your first episode. So we go back in here and we are again back at this screen where we started. Let's see. Settings. So I want us to go to update. Here we go. So this is where we all put in the text. Now it also asks for the podcast cover art. And there is a tool that you can use right here within this page. You can upload an image and you can do something really, really basic. It even says choose one for me. You know, this is just random stuff. But, you know, if you don't want to be fussed about and you just, who knows, you find something that you like. Now, I don't like this. I'm not going to use this. You can upload an image. You can search for a photo. So here they have more options. You know, you can pick something like that, for example, like some clouds. You can click continue. And then they will put the text of your title up here, and that will be your cover art. Now, I don't want to use any of those. I'm going to create my own cover art within Canva. And so give me a second. Let's go to Canva. Now, there is a free option and there is a paid version. I have the paid version, but there's lots of stuff you can do with free. So if you put in here podcast cover and templates, you will see all of these different covers that you can just use for yourself. And wherever there is no little crown, which is the pro version, you can use it for free. For example, this one here, this is free, this is free, this one is free. Let's just play around. If you want this one, you say customize this template. Now, I'm not going to take this one for myself, but just so you know what you can do. Let's say I would take this one. I would call it Happy Home. I would put in my own image, of course. Let's see that you can upload everywhere. Uploads. So I have a picture of my mom. I'm gonna take this. I'm going to edit the photo to remove the background. That's, I think, a paid version, but you might find free versions. You can just play around, right? So let's just say I put my mom. And of course, you know, it's not gonna look amazing now. I'm just showing you what is possible. I have other pictures here of myself that I can use. Yeah, let's just play around. I take this one, edit photo, remove background. You know, and so you just get creating as you wish. You can put in podcast into elements. Then you get all the graphics. For example, right? You can just drag and drop as you please with Lais and Louisa. Yes, so you see, you can just play around. Let's see, I this morning already started playing around with a different one here. So we'll take, yes, I think the template was this one, and I was just playing around to, you know, make it my own. So I'm going to play around with this one for a little bit, and you can go ahead now and play around with your own cover, be it from Spotify directly, or you go to Canva or any other image processor that you like to use. and just play around. Just make sure that it has your podcast name on it and that it looks good. Obviously, this happy home here doesn't look good yet. I will delete that. So I will start create and I will be back after the pause. So I am back. I have worked on my cover art. And so in order to get it in, I uploaded it. And now I have to check. They're asking if I want to crop it. You can play around, make it bigger or smaller. I'm gonna see, I'll leave it like it is. I click continue. And then what they do is they apply text, which is the name of your podcast on top, which I do not need because I already put it into Canva. So now I have my podcast cover, which I'm fairly okay with, but I know that I can come back here and update it at any time. So for now, I will just click on update cover art. And let's see what happens. There we go. So now we can input all our social media handles down here. So I'm gonna put everything that I have. I'm back. So I think I have everything I need right now. I put in the display name, which will be me and my mom. Oops, Instagram didn't save. Yeah, I'm gonna do it in a bit, but I'm done for today. You can also link your Spotify account down here. So I've included mine. And that is all that we will do today. The next part that we will do together in the next video will be to set up so that your episodes will be published right into all the different platforms that exist, like the Apple one, the Spotify one. And that will take a little bit of time to set up, but once it's set up, it's all easy and it goes automatically. So I hope you are happy with what you have for today. As I said earlier, don't worry if not everything can be updated, can be removed. You know, my cover art for now I'm happy with, but I will check in with my mom and get some feedback, and then I'll improve it as I go. So that's the idea here, you know, to keep going, to not procrastinate too much, to put stuff out there and knowing that we can always improve afterwards. So I will end this video here and I'll see you in the next one.